Hi Facebook fam. It's been a while since I went live. I think I've done my 60-day live challenge, which I'm thinking coming back and doing some sort of thing again, which was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and apparently a lot of people watch it. And I have been on YouTube. If you haven't watched my 66-day live challenge with like 5 to 10 minute calibration on a daily, that completely is I can put up as a new course itself. Go and watch it. It's on my YouTube channel. But I want to just come on and share a few things, because I'm actually creating a lot of things behind the scenes for a new school of life, and some private clients, all those things. And yesterday I had this beautiful conversation with one of my private clients, and we talked about this in detail, much in detail. But I wanted to come on out and just kind of speed up the momentum for some of the women that actually feels like they feel stuck. What is stuckness? Stuckness is when you actually don't catch up with your own expansion. That's all it is. So you eventually want to catch up your own expansion. This is when you start feeling you following the impulses. Kind of you got the momentum. You on the go. You in the flow, right? So this is what actually you want to start kind of work your life towards it. So, but there are two things I want to share you today. Two things that needs to happen. Two things, and we do this. Some of us doing because of the habit. Some of us learn this in an old school of life, in a matrix, in a system that we're still doing it because we have no awareness that is kind of like what stops us from actually moving forward. And the first thing is, if you want to move forward on a faster speed and start having shifts and start having different results, and that is stop arguing for your limitations. We cannot argue for our limitations and have something greater or receive something greater. We cannot. So arguing for your limitations, it would be like, I cannot do this because of blah blah blah. I cannot do this because of blah 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 blah. I have this amount of this because of that. Da 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 da. So I call this also pushing the wrong buttons. So we cannot argue for our limitations. I cannot do this, I cannot have it, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too broke, I'm too rich, I'm too... Whatever that kind of your excuse is, if you understand, this is just a freaking excuse. So we cannot argue for your limitations and receive. Because that would be push and pull, push and pull, push and pull, push and pull, and this is not something that we want, right? So the momentum is going in the direction of you allowing it, the transformation and manifestation to happen. Right? So no arguing for your limitations. There is a part of this is a habitual thing. So if you start actually, you see yourself coming and start arguing for limitations, what you do, you zip your freaking mouth. This is what you do at the beginning. Zip your freaking mouth. It's like, I see this part of me, but I'm not allowing it to actually run the show anymore, right? And another big thing, probably it's the biggest thing that stops the energy flow in the direction of your desires, or the direction of your manifestations, of everything that you actually dream of, and that is conditions. So, and this, we're so innocent sometimes, we're so innocent and we're so not aware that we're actually doing it, because that doesn't sound or feel like this is a condition, but actually this is condition. So we cannot put condition on our desires. So this is like, how I'm gonna give an example how this normally would sound like this. I want my soulmate. I want to manifest a dude, but I cannot manifest on April 4th because I'm going on a holiday, and I cannot do this because of da. Or I cannot receive money until I'm gonna finish that project. I cannot receive this because I know this happening. Or I cannot heal my body because my doctor prescribed this kind of like labeled condition or whatever that is. So if you're realizing, if you can take one desire that you have, or something that you've been really wanting it, and maybe you have really worked kind of hard towards it. And what I mean hard is, I mean hard in a new paradigm way, not an old paradigm where you push and chase and try to, let's say money, you work hard for the money. This is not the way, right? It's like, what's the point if you work extra hours to make more money, but then you have nothing left? You work at the cost of your health, of your relationships, of your time with your important people. You have compensating the energy. This is what you've done, right? So put in conditions. If you take in a desire, something that you really want, And you can actually now question yourself, what I have been putting a condition on that desire, why I cannot receive it right now. And you're gonna come up with really interesting answers. Maybe there is not the right timing, there is no right people environment, there is no, I'm not ready, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not fat enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not broke enough, whatever. You'll notice there is a condition. And the condition, what is? The condition is actually holding under the core, because this is like interesting thing. Universe does not freaking know that it's like, hello universe, I'm not ready to receive my soulmate because I'm not skinny enough. Universe does not read this or doesn't understand this. Universe just understands the vibration, which is basically, don't send me the soulmate that I really desperately want because I don't want to. This is what universe understands. When you say no, doesn't matter what kind of condition is, universe understands is a no. That's it. So that this is what you understand. The translation happens like condition is like constantly you're putting yourself and tricking yourself. I cannot receive, 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 right? So 2 things. You are not arguing for limitations. The second thing, you don't put any conditions. Once you start moving in the direction of shut up, allow it, receptive, move forward, removing conditions and understanding. Condition is the controlling part. If I control everything, this is, I'm in charge of what's happening and everything around me. I can make sure everything's gonna work out really well, because if it's not gonna work out really well, that would mean something about me. And not only that would mean something about you, that means you're not good enough, you're a failure, whatever that you heard growing up. It's just you not feeling safe. That's the control part. And in my world, this is like the woman I work with is like, we are control freaks. I mean, I've been control freak for nearly all my life. Now I'm really in a flow life. I really love the flow, right? But the controlling part is because you don't feel safe, or you have put in meanings, what it means if you fail. Like there's a desperation, there's a fear of failure, fear of like if it's not gonna work out the way you want to. So we tend to control these things. And if you're again coming from the background on eating disorders or some sort of like addictions that you're gonna notice, this is like, it just shapes the form, size, everything shapes, but like normally the same pattern of controlling, it just shifts this in a different thing, You control the food, now you control your training, then you control your work, it's just like everything. And you put conditions, and then you're expecting, you live in a new paradigm with just a lot of freedom. So when you control freak, you want everything external to change. Let's say you want the dude to feel love, you want the money to feel rich, you want to have the body to feel like confident, you want this to feel like, you want the external manifestation first happen for you to feel certain way, but it does not work this way. That means you gotta start following the impulses, start connecting to your flows, start connecting to your desires, and you want to have the contrast. You want to have the variety of life where you can actually choose, and you're not controlling me just one thing. You want the variety of life. You want the variety of choices. You want to have choices because you can have preferences, and you notice what you like, what you don't like, what makes you tick, what doesn't make you tick. It's just, that's what life is about. Choosing is a preferences. I like this or like that. I like tea or I like coffee. I like banana or I like apple. It's a constant choices. And then you start making choices based on what you want and makes you feel good, rather than like what I should have, because what I've learned in the old school of life, this is what you should be eating. This is where the things start shifting. Because old school of life and new school of life is 2 very different schools. In an old school of life, you learn conditional love, conditional money, conditional work, conditional relationship. Everything is conditional. And because it's conditional, it's not in alignment with who you are, because in alignment that the inner being has no conditions. And when you have no conditions internally, you have conditions all around you, it feels like this is such a gap and a contrast that you feel like that's what anxiety is, that your depression is, that you feel like this is like really heady, because now you try to kind of figure out instead of listening. And now you're in your head, living in an old paradigm, in a most masculine dominant energy, which is like, I need to figure out, I need the answers, I need to push, I need to work it out, I need to achieve, I need to do, rather than kind of shifting orientation into like what makes me feel, blah, blah, blah. So the energetics, the alignment of new school of life, understanding like you have to change the orientation from result-based orientation into experience orientation. Because once you have experience orientation, you have results as a byproduct, or you're feeling good. In an old orientation, masculine, you have results at the cost of your health, relationships, and fun. That's the difference. But the question is that one of the reasons like why women don't shift it, because the first thing, they're not aware. The second thing is they're just getting ready to be ready. Some of them, like, they don't feel like they deserve to live better, or they don't understand that they're actually shrinking. Again, this is lack of awareness, because that's basically saying someone there is another way of living. There's a new world, and you haven't seen it, that requires you to let go of the old identity. It requires you to let go of the old crap that you've been holding on to, like on the programs and the codes, which is like you've been imposed to, and you have taken them as a truth. So you still live in a world where there are a lot of pedestals. You put other people on a pedestal, put everyone on the top of the list, and now putting yourself on a pedestal would be like equal like you being selfish, and being selfish equals like you not being loved, and that triggers you in a child where it's just like never being loved and being abandoned, and it's like never ending cycle. That makes sense. But out of this video is the two important things: remove the conditions first, and stop putting limitations. Right? Stop arguing more about your limitations, and the rest is like, changing orientations, understanding a new school of life. You can actually get access to all my programs in a new school of life, recordings, coaching, support, everything you need. Just go and start shifting your new school life. If you really want to have this life that feels like a fuck yes, and as a byproduct of you feeling good emotionally. And if you want to kind of like live the old paradigm, it's also great, but you cannot expect to have this both emotion and manifestation or the result, because it just doesn't work this way, right? It's a law. It's not something that can come with it. It's just law of the universe, right? So that's a calibration for Tuesday. Go and enjoy your day.